Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are live from Mindset Monday, and what we want to talk to you a little bit about today is like, hey, this is the second half of the year, right? So, how back in January we discussed planning out your year, breaking everything down into smaller, more manageable steps or goals and targets, and then hitting those goals consistently until you reach where you're at. So if you've been doing that, you should be roughly halfway through with where you said you were going to start out, right? So if you're not I don't want to say it's okay, but now it's measure where you've gone, right? Like measure how far you've come, see what you missed, see what you have to recalibrate, and then from there I don't want to say make a new plan, but obviously adjust the plan based on what it needs so you can still hit it by the end of the year. Maybe it's something that you potentially underestimated when you took it on, right? That happens all the time. People always do that. Maybe you weren't doing enough of the right things, right? Maybe you thought you had to do a lot more emails, right, to generate the business, and it was really phone calls. So, what is it that you have to adjust? How are you going to adjust it, and how are you going to measure for it, right? Those are the biggest things that are really going to make a big difference whether you hit it or you don't hit it. And then you have to be honest with yourself too when you're reviewing this stuff. Like, did you put in the time, the effort, the energy that you were supposed to?
Mhm.
Okay. Because there are goals that I thought, in January were going to be much more important to me than they are today. Right. So sometimes your priorities change, and that's okay. But then you should definitely update your goals and move it to something that's a newer priority. And you should always try to set goals that are absolutely like priority number one, two, and three. Dave, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, man. I mean, first and foremost, obviously evaluate, right? Like look back, like you said, from January 1 and until now, and not only look at like what went wrong. I think everybody wants to focus on the negative, which you should, right? Like those things you need to improve, you need to get better on and move forward. Look, we're not saying we're perfect. We all have them, right? Like we can all say we fell short on something, no doubt about it. But also what went right. What wins did you have? What did you learn from those wins? What did you learn from those losses? Right. So with those losses, how do you correct them? I think some of the most important things that get overlooked at is what are the little things, right? The real minute details that went right and also went wrong. The attentions and the details all the time. And those little things, those little habits, that one more phone call, right? That could have taken 30 seconds, that one more email that could have taken 30 seconds, that one intro that you were like, ah, oh, screw it, man, I'll get to it tomorrow. And then you forget about it. Those little things, they compound significantly over time. And I think don't overlook those things. But I also think more importantly, not just like, those goals on business and everything. What did you accomplish on physical goals? How did you get in touch more spiritually? Did you hit those things that you needed to hit? Did you serve more people? Look at the broader picture as well. And I also think more importantly, moving ahead, yes, you want to correct those things. Yes, you want to obviously make sure you're on track, but what is something new you can do? Right? What's a new goal that you can add in there that if you have the bandwidth for it to accomplish at the end of the year? 6 months, let's not downplay it. There's still a lot of time. Is it going fast? Hell yeah, it's going fast. It'd be a fool if you didn't. I remember that conversation in January. It literally felt like yesterday, dude. And
Yep.
now it's like the year's halfway here. It's hotter than hell, like in most of the country. When we were talking about this, like at least here, there's probably a foot of snow on the ground. So things change and they can change quickly. Seasons change quickly. Good seasons change quickly. Bad seasons change quickly. And I think it's just all on your focus as to where you are and how do you close this out. If you're going through some pain right now, look how you take that pain, turn it into pleasure. If you have these things or bad habits that make you feel good about yourself, but they're not driving the needle, how do you turn that into a pain, into a driving force that forces you out?
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the other thing, guys. We may mainly discuss like, hey, if you didn't hit your goals. Hopefully everyone hit their goals and crushed their goals, right? Now let's think about the other side of that.
Mm.
Let's say you've hit your goals or you're getting really close to hitting your goals, and because, well, one of two things: you either absolutely crushed it or you didn't set big enough goals. Either way, now is a time for you to recalibrate, right? So if you already hit the goal, extend the goal, make it a larger goal, make it something that you really are going to have to double the effort on. And if you did hit your goal, you're getting close to your goal and you're going to hit it, right? Think about extending it. What's going to be the biggest benefit to my team? What's going to be the biggest benefit to my family? What's going to be the biggest benefit to everybody around me? How can I extend this goal, or how can I change this goal to make it larger, to make it impact more people, right? That's another thing that you may want to be considering now, because if you hit your goal by August or September, right, you don't want to lose that momentum. You don't want to slow down that momentum. You have a lot of momentum carrying you. You want to harness it and have it keep pushing you. So that's another thing just to consider, guys, is like, hey, if you're behind on your goal, recalibrate, adjust, review, make more adjustments, and then put the pedal to the metal. If you crushed your goal, or it looks like you're going to hit your goal, I would still do the same thing. Hey, what worked? Let's do more of it. What didn't work? Let's not do any of that. By the way, how much further can we get on this goal, right? If you want to do 2 million in business and you're sitting there at 1.8 right now, well, I'd be readjusting that, very, very quickly to see how you can maybe hit 5 before the end of the year, right? It's those things like that that compound, that make a big difference, especially when you do it very, very systematically, right?
Yeah, I think the big thing, like to touch on that, is if you celebrate that win now. You talk about that team member you have to where like he hit his goal and then he just fell off.
Mhm.
It's really easy to hit a goal. Number one, it's probably shock you, like, oh shit, I hit this goal, I can't believe it. Now you just coast through the rest of the year. Now you're behind. Now you start 27 and you already got basically 2 feet out instead of 1 foot out and 1 foot in. You're starting to lose momentum then, and that's where people get in that no man's land of celebrating wins too much. Hey, my goal for the year is August. You know what? Kids are going back to school. Football season's here, and then before you know it, Thanksgiving, and now it's New Year's, and you slacked off for the last 4 months.
Yeah, don't do that, guys. You heard it here first, all right? So reevaluate your goals. Do everything you can to hit them. If you've already hit them, extend them. All right. We appreciate you. We'll catch you on Financial Fitness Friday. Take care.
Be great, y'all.